Good morning, everyone. I'm really happy to be here. It's a great honor and to be here with all of my colleagues from Ford. A number of really interesting and provocative things. So, Michael, yes, it is true. We are both delighted and in some ways gratified by the progress that we have made, but we are also very frustrated. And we are frustrated, your diagnosis I agree with. We are frustrated in part because there is not the sort of systematic way of measuring progress. I would say that part of the challenge is, in some ways, and here we are at the Skoll Forum, and here I am going to say it, and it is that we have exalted the individual entrepreneur. And we have in many ways privileged the idea of the hero social entrepreneur, and we have disadvantaged the importance and primacy of institutions. And so I think part of the challenge is that we have got to understand that both individual initiative and entrepreneurial spirit is essential, but so are institutions. And so we have to calibrate our investments accordingly. Certainly, I can speak for Ford, and I appreciate the question about the ways in which philanthropy distorts the behavior and the system to, in many ways, deliver bad outcomes. Mm-hmm. And I certainly, on behalf of my institution, take responsibility for contributing to that. So we are today really, I think, taking a hard look at what I call the 3 I's, investing in individuals, institutions, and ideas. But it's really important that we, as a philanthropy, have some level of skepticism about many of the ideas that come in, because there is this, on the one hand, desire to continue to seed innovation. But every day someone comes into the Ford Foundation and says, I've got this idea, I want to do fill in the blank. My response often is, who asked you to do that? Like, why do we need that? Is that because you wrote a paper on it at school and you decided that after school you wanted to start an NGO and go to Africa and save a village? Now, on the one hand, you want to encourage that kind of spirit. But on the other hand, in some ways, it contributes to the very diagnosis that Professor Porter has put forward, that we have to take seriously. And so I worry about our doing harm by over-investing in good ideas that actually can't be scaled or are already being executed quite well in the next village. And so, so one of the things that we have to get better at in philanthropy is being honest and interrogating our own practices in this respect. So what I would say what I would say in addition is that one of the reasons we haven't made as much progress as we would like is because the very systems and structures that we seek to transform themselves are set up in many ways to reinforce the inequality that are within systems. That's right. And so the very structures that we need to disrupt, in many cases, serve the advantaged and serve to reinforce the disadvantage of others. And so it's why we have to also be comfortable talking about power and recognizing that people have to be mobilized, and we have to invest in movements and the mobilization of people to disrupt those systems and structures. And that's not always easy to do, and we don't always do it well, even when we want to do it. And finally, I will say, women matter. We know women matter. But why is it so hard? One of the real drivers of inequality are cultural narratives and practices that affirm why some people are in their station in life and others are in other stations in life. And wherever we are in the world, we see it. Why is it in India that in polite society it is acceptable to talk about certain caste people and where they are in society? That in polite company, you are allowed to do that. Why is it that we have a narrative in the United States that in some ways reinforces the idea that the fact that so many black men are locked up is because they're more likely to be criminals?
Yeah.
That's a narrative. Why is it that we have narratives that say women really aren't good in science? Women don't want to be fill in the blank. That's really not, well, we have that because we have cultural narratives. And unless we're willing to embrace the power of culture as a barrier to progress, it's really hard to imagine how we're going to see the transformation that I think Professor Porter spoke so eloquently of.